Hey, hey. All right, guys, this is part three. If you didn't see one or two, there is a link for at least part two right there in the description box, and you can kind of hopscotch backward. Okay, so we were leaving things on a cliffhanger here because we see him in her efforts to go out and maybe try to just randomly date, and she doesn't seem to be having a whole lot of luck with that. And I said, is it buying him some time to maybe straighten some stuff out for himself and figure some things out? And we said, no, first he's just sitting here in some sorrow. No big changes, and he's here with the hanged man, and he's kind of still disconnected, it seems like, from like thought versus action, and he's considering things. And I think he's mostly here lamenting, what am I going to do about this? Because remember the very beginning, she was a Queen of Cups. And here he is saying, I wanted to be that King of Cups. She's the other half of my soul. It's bone deep. I feel this connection. Now, also back in part one, I said, today being 11/22, as I'm recording this, it could be a day for like souls that are two halves of the same soul. I'm not saying I actually believe in that, by the way, but characters that kind of mirror each other. And I will say what we saw throughout this story is two characters that were definitely like both injured at different times, even if it was through kind of like, in his case, kind of his own doing. And then what they didn't do is communicate. And so on one hand, both of them have similarities, right? They have similarities when they're injured. They withdraw. They don't talk. They don't really do the thing that maybe would be the best. So they match each other in, number one, having wanted one another, but they also match each other in, like, unfortunately, less communicative styles, especially when communication would be the most important thing they could do. So we can see that they do match in good ways and in not so perfect ways, and ways that maybe would behoove them to change. And as we can see, they have butterflies tattooed on both their skulls. So I would say this is maybe like a perfect story for 11/22, because we've seen the ups and downs and some of the things that contributed to their problems. And look, I'm still going to be sassy Kate and bust into this story and say, okay, but none of this problem needed to happen. If only we could go back to part one. And why was he ever holding back? Why hold back from somebody? Why give them a Four of Pentacles when you know darn well there's somebody you'd want as a Ten of Pentacles, and that's what they're giving to you? So now he says, I want to be that King of Cups to the Queen of Cups. It feels like this is a little bit late in the game to say that. And I'm just trying to figure out, because he's still over here wallowing in some pain, instead of like, wow, maybe this all got messed up from the gate and all this could have been handled different. Let me just ask this. Where are you right now, masculine? We see you being aware, I love her, I want to be the other half of that. But we also see the Seven of Swords, but in this case, he's trying to tell himself it's over. I mean, it's too late, it's over, but not even he believes that, because inside this coffin, he ain't dead, he's sitting upright. And inside the coffin, scratched onto the inside, is the word hope and reflection. So he doesn't believe that it's over either. But he's saying, oh, it's over, but I really wanted to be with her. Oh my God, she was my everything, but it's too late. When already his brain is like, I'm going to say that it's over, but in my head and in my heart, I know damn well it can't be. Instead, it's taken a long time and maybe a lot of mistakes. And, I'm wondering, have these two have had two starts and stops already? And now we have one more time here with that third one that he could start to actually water. It's like, wait a minute, if I actually gave this time, could it really grow? I mean, of course it could. It's like he knows subconsciously the thing that he didn't do was to nurture the connection. And had he done that, it would have been all different. He knows that she loved him. That's one thing. He says, I want so badly to give to her and give her my whole heart and receive from her. And at one point, that's exactly what she wanted with me too. I know that, but it's over, except it's not, because all it would take is me actually giving. It's maybe, hang on, are you yet having the coming to Jesus moment to recognize that's where the mess up was? Five of Swords, we're back to that Five of Swords. Back in part one, That was their fight. And that fight was everything. That was the fight that he said, oh man, I hate fighting with her. We had some kind of a fight and then she withdrew from me. But then what we discovered is, yeah, you know exactly why she withdrew from you. It's because you were given a 4 of Pentacles. But you still didn't fix anything. He said, yeah, but I don't think she wants me. All this time he's kept saying, oh, but see, she probably doesn't want me. We go right back to that fight. And now he's realizing, I think, he's thinking over that fight really clearly at this point. He's seeing maybe the external factors that played in. Look, the bottom line is these two wanted to be with each other. And that was it was a needless fight to have had. The fact that this wrecked a connection. 4 of Pentacles, there we go. Knight of Pentacles. Here's the real reason. We went all the way back. We're coming full circle in his thought process and the way he's interpreting stuff now. He's saying, I held back from her because I had, in my previous past, somebody that I married only to then find out they were a bridezilla. So I told myself, I promised myself I would never get myself involved with somebody that I didn't really know was 100% somebody I could trust. I was always going to go real slow. And we knew back in part 1 that he had been moving really slow. We knew he was holding back. This is that 4 of Pentacles all over again. But finally, we see why he's acting like this. It's because he doesn't want somebody to take him for his money. Now, okay, first off, I'm already pissed off because I'm like, why would you assume that somebody else is out for your money? That's just a nasty thing to apply to a stranger or somebody that you're like, wow, she's so great to me. She's giving me the best of herself. I'm going to really hold back because she's probably a gold digger like my ex was. That feels messed up to put that on a new person and assume because somebody else was the wrong person for you, that's what everybody is. I don't know. I don't love it. It feels like you're accusing everybody of being unsavory and then they have to prove to you that they're not, instead of mutually like trying to build trust and show a certain amount of generosity and, show somebody who you are and let them show you who they are and getting to know each other. It feels like he went in with a mentality, you could be just like my ex. So you have to prove to me that you're not. So I'm going to move really slow and not give you even a fair amount because my ex took too much from me. So you get less from me because my ex took too much from me. I don't think that's very fair. I don't know. I don't love this at all, but I love the fact that we're getting to the bottom of it. And it's like, it's totally understandable. It's totally relatable, but it also still feels mean to me to assume somebody else is what your ex was and that they now have to basically prove themselves and they get less from you, less even common courtesy. And they're almost accused of something and have to prove themselves innocent when they didn't hurt you and they didn't do anything wrong and they didn't take anything from you. That doesn't feel great. That feels like issues he needed to deal with on his own. But hey, he's the one like acknowledging this is what I did. Okay, that's a huge breakthrough. And again, I do find it very relatable, even if I'm like, oh, no, you didn't. 11D8, babe, I'm with you. I'm with you on that one. You are so adorable. Thank you, love. With this 8 of Wands sideways, it's like, how am I going to say that? Even though it's the thing that I need to say. And I'm like, whoa, don't say it the way I just said it, right? Because it could just be, I got really burned by an ex. And honestly, I was having a hard time trusting. Okay, that's true, but without going into the nasty side of it that I just said, like, wait a second. So somebody took you for your money. So now you think everybody's after your money. And that might not be it. It's just this card says it that way because she's dangling him by the bank. So I may have jumped and made, too vehement a case there. Maybe it's not quite like that. But if he's going to talk to her and maybe find the way, because he's going to have to explain, number one, I didn't give you fairly. I didn't give to you equally. I know I held back. I was holding back really because I'd been burned so bad by somebody else. And I was really having a hard time, like believing that people are better than what I knew. I was scared to trust. I mean, that makes more sense, and it certainly is more palatable than, you're probably a gold digger, so you got to prove that you're not. I don't know which one of those sentiments is more true, though. I really don't. And I kind of think that's still an important thing to sleuth out, but not in this one. This is 3 parts long already. We got the Wheel of Fortune sideways. Well, it's not just me saying he needs to sleuth it out. This is the universe saying you ain't going toward her until you can answer that. Wheel of Fortune sideways. It's time you should know the answer, and you need to be able to figure your own self out, because if you walk around and you accuse other people of doing stuff and they have to prove that they're not something and everybody's guilty in your eyes first, you need to go heal your traumas. You don't go walking into other relationships and then treat people like they have to do backflips for you. So you can't go toward her till you sort that out, is the way I would read that. Hang on. And it is time. He's saying, I know. It's exactly where I'm at. I actually want to really give to her. I don't feel that way anymore. That's who I was. Admittedly, I was scared to trust anybody. I was maybe making people go through my emotional obstacle course that I put up in my head to protect myself. And it was the equivalent of me saying, everybody's guilty. You have to prove that you're innocent. But I'm ready to actually give fairly to somebody now and let them get to know me also, and realize that she had as much to fear as he did. Everybody has something to lose when you're, vulnerably like getting to know another person, and when you're opening up to them. Everybody stands to lose. We're all vulnerable. So it says he's ready to be that now. There's been a lot of maturity in this, like a lot of maturity in this. This is not to say he's some horrible, mean-spirited character. It's just, and in fact, we never saw him try to be like awful. It's just the actions kind of came out that way, right? We can do awful things and have fights and be petty and be self-centered. And it's not because we're awful people. It's because we're in a headspace where we haven't, dealt with our traumas yet. And that's really the way I would look at this story and this character. I mean, yes, it's like, oh my God, come on. But it is still, I think, so relatable. Look, she probably wouldn't have been hurt by him or been wanting to be with him if he were awful, right? We have him certainly saying, I think right now anyway, what he wants more than anything is to nurture this connection if there's still a chance to do that. But he had a lot of growth that had to happen in this. Okay, let's go back over to her. So where are you at right now? Because she was kind of bitterly saying, I think I'll just take on lovers, only it wasn't working. And she's back to saying, nah, what can I do? I'm a queen. I want long-term stability, and maybe I'll meet that somewhere in the future. So I don't know if she did, try a one-nighter or tried to lightheartedly date some Knight of Wands, but I just think it doesn't click for her because she's somebody who needs stability. She's always going to be in it for the long game. She's always going to be somebody who wants to build. So she's back to saying, I'd rather be single, and if I meet the right person on down the future, somewhere up ahead, that'd be great. But it does have to be somebody I can build with. So she's already over that momentary, like, I know what, I'll just find a lover. And then she kind of got better and said, I don't even know if love's a thing. And now she's back to being centered. The World card. So she went through a whole pattern of thoughts and growth also. I kind of think back and better than ever with saying, nah, I'm not going to let my experience with him shape the way I go out and I just randomly, have given up on love, because that would be her being just as wounded and traumatized and, telling herself, this is how it is. And this is how I'm going to do things from now on, even though it doesn't fit with who I am or what I want. So she had to go through some growth too, which she has. And I think she's back to being like a more peaceful version of herself. She really believes that there is a King of Pentacles out there for her. Let me ask one last thing. What do you think about him? Does he factor in at all? Or did you simply say, I worked through my process, I worked through my trauma, I worked through all of it, and I'm back to saying, of course, love is out there. You know what's so crazy? When I said, what do you think about him? She says, I loved him. And for what it's worth, he loved me too, in whatever way he could have. So she's finally, as she's gotten through the insult, the heartbreak, the trauma, I shouldn't say heartbreak. We did see heartbreak, but that was actually on his side. So let's just say the bitterness, the thing that instilled in her, like the sense of personal pride, like F this, I'm not getting treated like this. I'm withdrawing. I don't need to explain anything. I think you're cheating. You don't cheat on somebody like me. You can have whoever you want, but you can't have me too. I just bounce. She did all that and then kind of gave up on love for a bit and then tried to just kind of, take on a lover. That didn't click either. And now she's back to herself. But because she worked through all that, I think now she's able to say, in truth, for whatever it's worth, I know he did want me and I wanted him too. There was something there. It was real. That's what pulled us together in the first place. Okay. So she can just let go of the rest of it right now and say, for whatever else happened, I know that was actually true. Could there be a new beginning? She's kind of, I think, even at the place where she's acknowledging, I don't really know what happened with us. I do know that he really wanted to be with me, though. I saw that in his eyes. I saw that. Even if he was still holding back, he wanted to be with me. I can't deny that. I knew that all along. Maybe that's also why she was so freaking insulted, because it's like, what the hell? You want to be with me, but you're holding back. Okay, you must be full of shit. She's here saying, I don't know if there could be a do-over, but let's just say, I know that this was important. I know that for what it's worth, he loved me at the time. She just openly says, look, I'll never call him or reach out to him. I won't lift a finger to go toward him. If he comes into my life, oh, so stable with oh, so much security and oh, so much loyalty and eyes only for me and some huge, an energy that feels very, very like I said, very stable and very matching my own. Who knows what's possible? She's at that point where I think now we know she's really healed, because she's saying, you don't know what's going to happen in the future, so you may as well not try to tell yourself how it's all going to go. You know what you want, you know what you stand for, and you know what you would welcome in, but you don't necessarily always know how people can surprise you. I think the reason she's come full circle on that thought process is simply because she has like the awareness now that she's not wounded anymore. She has the awareness that I know he wanted me. That was obvious. Queen of Cups in the reverse and Eight of Pentacles. She acknowledges she's not the same person anymore. She doesn't love just, with her emotions. There's something new to her. There's a groundedness to her. There's different expectations of what a relationship would have to be made up of. And that's something that she doesn't even know she would have fallen for somebody like him now, being the her that she is today. So it kind of says, who knows what's possible. It's crazy because it says he's definitely going to be reaching out to her. And it says she's definitely a different person. Is there a potential for these two to work? Three of Pentacles, absolutely. But in what capacity? As lovers, as friends, as something else altogether? I don't know. We do have 3 donuts on the wall. 3 powdered sugar donuts. No, sorry, it's an art installation. 6 of Cups. All said and done, these two are always going to come back around to each other because these two still have a journey to take. It doesn't mean they have to be lovers, but my God, have they learned a lot together. This is kind of a choose your own adventure. If these two get back together or not, I don't know. But thank you guys for hanging with me for this epic 3-parter. Christy, thank you. Erin Swell, hi babe. Thank you guys, everybody. 11-8. Thanks again. Gabriela Ramondo, Dwayne, nice to see you, babe. All right, you guys. I'm going to bounce on over to Tarot Dog. Thank you, everybody. Eddie, thanks. Melazabo, did I say that right? I'm so sorry if I totally botched it. Moonbeam Wendy, Annette Summers B. Thank you, everybody. Slave Princess, hey, babe. Kristen Judd. CWD, TLV, Lauren Co. Thank you, everybody. All right, I'll see you on Tarot Dog. Bye for right now.